All right, it's Alicia here from My Work Basket, and this video is to show you the details of my different cards that I posted on Instagram this week. I'm doing a challenge called A Card a Day in June, where you post one handmade card to your Instagram page every day for the entire month. And I have to say, I am super proud of myself for sticking with it. This is the second week, so this is cards 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, 11, I guess. Which I don't tend to stick with things, so for me, that is pretty good. So the cards that I posted on Sunday, I know for sure which cards they are. The rest of the cards for this week may show up on Instagram in a different order than what I'm about to show you. So the cards that I posted on Sunday are these 3D popsicle cards. It was actually a set of 8, so I said the cards were octuplets. And of course, right as I was about to start recording, the beautiful sunlight disappeared, so hopefully the lighting on this is good. So these I made as cards to give to the students in my class for the homeschool group that I run, and I'm just going to put a note in there for each one of them about thank you for being a good student this year, have a cool summer. Kind of cheesy, but they'll expect that from me. So there's a set of 8 of those that I made and showed off on Sunday. These are entirely paper, absolutely no rubber stamps. They are from Papercrafter Magazine. I saw the template. You print out the template. It's a free download on their website. It's, I think it's papercraftermagazine.co.uk. I will check that and I'll put the correct link in the comments in the information section below so that you can print these out also if you'd like to. And so they're just colored cardstock. I cheated and used a pack of pre-made cards. In fact, I used them on almost every card set this week. So I took the pre-printed, pre-made cards and then put the popsicles on the front. Every one of these 8 are different. So I made 8 different cards and showed them all. And I'm super excited to give those to my students. The other cards this week also utilized a lot of stuff from Papercrafter Magazine. I just signed up for an e-magazine app last night and I spent a fair amount of time on it. And so I was just really inspired by a lot of what I saw. The first thing I did today when I came into my craft room to work was actually go onto their website and print some of the different things that had caught my eye. And then that's almost entirely what I worked with this week. So one of the things that I found, and I'll put a link to this as well, was a free download, and it was a whole 18-page packet of printables, and they are super cute, and I used those a ton this week. So all of the elements that you see on this card are from this printable packet, and then I put it on one of the pre-printed cards. Just a little note, and then I'll do a thing inside, and I did attach another little matching flower on that. I did the same thing on a different card for this. So all of these are paper elements from the same thing. And I don't think I put anything inside of there. So that's just a blank one. I like to make cards like this because then I can either write a letter inside or stamp a quick sentiment or print something out and kind of glue it in. So I like to make a lot of blank ones. I also tend to pre-make cards instead of making cards for specific things. So this gives me the ability to have that card to use for just about everything. But all of these are also printables from that same thing. I also made I'm going to post all of these, another multi-post day. I made these little mini cards, and most of them are the same paper elements from that printable. And then this thanks so much is a stamp from 2006 from Stampin' Up. I actually haven't cleaned up my desk yet, so they are sitting right next to me. Interestingly enough, that exact stamp, oh, here we go. I was like, it's not back in the box. So it was this stamp set, 2006 from Stampin' Up. And there's a set of 6 of these. I got them used recently. So I just did the thanks so much. And each one of these is just a little printable element, and then I stamped the stamp one, and I made a little tiny mini card to match it. These are actually going to be for the parents of my homeschool group because we did utilize them as volunteers this year. So I'm just going to put a note in there that says kind of thanks for volunteering and also for enrolling. I mean, if they didn't enroll their kids, we essentially couldn't exist. So it's just a quick thank you note for the parents of my homeschool group. And that's going to be one of my Instagram posts. I also made 2 journal cards that are going to show up this week. This was one of them. For both of the journal cards, I took one of those same pre-printed cards and just cut it in half. And then what I'll do is either punch holes here for disc binding and put them kind of in my planner as a journal card, or I'll hole punch the bottom as kind of a memory dex. I'll be honest in that I'm not dedicated to any one system, and I'm waiting to punch it so that I can pick one system and stick with it. So I'm kind of between systems, and this was all printable paper elements again. When I go to actually use it, I may do something like round the corners. I feel like this would look really pretty rounded, or stamp something here more specific to what I'm writing about. But because I'm waiting to put them in a specific system, I'm just kind of waiting for some of those finishing touches. Because, for example, if I round the corners and then I want to hole punch it a certain way, it may not work very well. So that was one of my cards for this week. This printable paper pack, free from Papercrafter Magazine, was just amazing. I was in love with it. And it just so happened that pretty much everything I had handy, like my ink pads that I had handy, they all sort of matched. So the few items that I did use a stamp on, I just happened to have the right things. This was another journal card that I'm going to use. And again, I may add things like punched cards. I'll definitely fill in some of this. It says checklist, real life. I would definitely fill in some of this and a little note here as to what I'm writing about. And then it's also blank on the back. So that'll be another journal card for me to do. And that's going to show up one day this week. The main thing I think everybody's going to want to see is kind of my biggest project of the week. And it's kind of a compound item. It is a card, a letter, and a gift all in one. And so what I actually did on this was take a brown paper envelope that I have shown in previous videos. It's from Scrap Be More. I got it because you use it to fill their scrap bin. So you pay $2 for this big brown envelope stuffed full of fabric scraps. Well, I stuff it full. Some people may not, but so, and I just thought it'd be super cute as kind of a card and like a pocket card. And so it has a pocket because it is a bag, and I folded it, and then I also cut the usually sealed end as a pocket. And so what I did for this one is, it's a card. I would have to make a custom envelope, but this can be mailed. And then it has blank spaces, so I can write a note here as to who it's for, stuff it with goodies so that it's also a gift. And then I have spaces blank for me to actually write in, so I can write in a note or a letter. I can write something on the back of this flap, and I can kind of write here. And it's the same on this page. And again, this is all those same printable elements. I printed one pack of those printable elements, and they just kept going and going and going and going. So that is kind of another page. And then again, this is also a kind of a goodie pocket, and then space on the back for me to finish off my letter and sign off. And I love to do these. I don't know the last time I've really mailed one, but you can stuff in goodies like embroidery flosses, fabric scraps. I can tuck in stickers. I can tuck in more of the same printables that match. I can just stick in anything that I want into these two different pockets. So it's got two big pockets. Honestly, even a standard letter would fit in there. So they're really nice. It's a letter, a card, and a gift kind of all in one. It's almost like its own little mini album. And yeah, so I can take anything I want and kind of stick it in there, oops, hit my camera, and turn it into a gift for especially like an artistic friend at the same time. This one I kept very neutral with just things like hello, hello there, dear, keep on smiling, just a little pick-me-up. And this one is just a fun, it's a bit excessive. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a single card. So I feel like all of the items this week almost get a duplicate, because I did 8 cards on Sunday. I'm doing 4 cards one other day with these little mini cards. And so I feel like every day this week was, maybe I just kind of did a bit of overkill this week. I was really kind of into it and just sort of kept going. I didn't do a whole lot of actual rubber stamping. Almost all of them are those printables. I got a bit of a late start, and I do share my craft room with my son for homeschool. And it's already Sunday when I got a chance to sit down and make cards. And I just really didn't want to dig out like a ton of stuff. Anybody who does paper crafts can tell you. I mean, if you're watching this and you do paper crafts, you know it gets big. It gets big, and it gets big fast. So I'm going to just show these a little bit more since the light came back. So I just didn't want to dig out a ton of stuff and have a massive table full of items and then have to clean it all up because it was, you know, we share the room. So I just didn't want my whole table to be full. So I kind of cheated and did these simpler, not a ton of stamps, not a bunch of ink, not a bunch of parts everywhere. I barely even unzipped my Papercraft organizer. So those are my cards for this week, the second week of a card a day in June. I'm really proud of myself for sticking with it. I hope this gives you some ideas. If you're not participating, I mean, it's kind of a bit late now, but hopefully this gives you some ideas anyway. And this just is something you can do other days without it being for a special event. One thing that I did struggle with is I am doing a no stash challenge. For the summer, I am buying no stash. I'm calling it the SOS. It's the summer of stash. And I discovered that the cartridge I like to use for paper crafting is missing. I have refills, but the cartridge itself is nowhere to be found. So I actually had to very carefully use Elmer's glue, which worked fine most of the time. The main place you can see that I struggled is there is a tiny bit of buckling on the two journal cards, but honestly, even as it continues to dry, it's getting better and better. So I do kind of need to decide if getting a new cartridge piece counts in my summer of stash or not. I am allowed to buy tools, so it's kind of a tool. I don't really know, but also I could just be more careful in my gluing. I've done plenty of stuff with classic liquid glue before. Yeah, so we'll see. So thank you for watching. I hope you have a great day. I hope this gives you some great ideas. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear in the comments kind of which one is your favorite, or even if you like card making. So thanks for watching.